DC, I'm Alistair D'Souza. This is Washington Watch, a weekly roundup of the biggest stories from the United States and beyond. Wall Street slides at the open and global stocks fell Friday as Trump's tariff jitters, they sent jitters in all corners of the world. Trump slapped sweeping duties on more than 90 countries, igniting fears of a global trade war. India sees 25% tariffs plus additional penalties over its Russia ties. Canada stung by 35% duties. Tariff angst apart, other concerns over the US economy in an unusually larger correction. Hiring or jobs growth numbers in May and June have been lowered by nearly 260,000. The numbers for the last month in July coming in below what economists had forecast.
At the time, did you know why he was taking those young women, including Virginia?
No, I don't know really why. But I said if he's taking anybody from Mar-a-Lago, he's hiring or whatever he's doing.
Trump denies knowing why Epstein was taking young females from his club in Florida. His latest comments come after he earlier told reporters that he knew that Epstein had stolen a 16-year-old spa attendant, Virginia Giuffre, from his Mar-a-Lago club. Giuffre was sexually assaulted by Epstein. She committed suicide in April this year. President Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, and U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, made a rare visit to Gaza Friday amid a starvation crisis. The United Nations says since late May, nearly 1,400 people have died along the routes of food convoys. The UN says they have mostly been killed by the Israeli military.
He's done a bad job. Now he's got a meeting today, but I call him too late. You know, he's always too late. I hear they're going to do it in September, not today. For what reason?
Trump lashing out at Fed Chief Jerome Powell after the U.S. Central Bank once again kept interest rates steady for a fifth meeting in a row. The move is in defiance in what some see as a bullying campaign by President Trump for the Fed to slash borrowing costs. US President Trump is upending the global trade system with a slew of tariffs ranging from a baseline of 10% to as high as 50%. Trump has signed an executive order on the rates, which go into effect in 7 days. Some of the highest tariffs are on Canada, which is now at 35%. Brazil is even bigger at 50%. Mexico, the US's biggest trading partner, has been given a 90-day reprieve. Now, goods imported from India into the United States will face 25% duties after talks to hammer out a mini trade deal failed, but the pain could be far worse. India is also expected to face additional penalties for oil it buys from Russia. No word yet, though, on how much those penalties will be. Meanwhile, preliminary deals with the EU, Britain, Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, and others have meant that they face tariffs of between 10 to 20%.
So it's a good deal. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Was tough negotiations. I knew it at the beginning, and it was indeed very tough, but we came to good conclusions for both sides.
Let's take a closer look at the deal making with Trump and the fallout. Also, what's next for countries hoping to strike a deal like India? We're joined by William Lee. William is chief economist at the Milken Institute. William, thank you for your time here on this Friday morning. Let's start by talking about those that managed to get that initial deal. On the one hand, it would be tempting to say that they have clarity now, but if we look at the EU, for example, it's seen as heavily tilted in favor of the US, French President Macron calling it a dark day. Why couldn't the EU and other countries have perhaps fought harder?
Well, I believe a lot of the countries have their own national interests in mind, and they don't really want to open up their markets to foreign competition. So you find that a lot of countries don't want to make investments in the United States and partner with the U.S., as President Trump has requested. But I think the overall negotiations done by President von der Leyen has taken the interests of the entire EU in mind, and they find and they agree with other countries that it's much better to partner with the U.S., meaning invest in the U.S., open up their markets to U.S. firms, and integrate more with the world economy than it is to support national champions and stay with a high level of non-tariff barriers. So I think the diversity of views out there is one that still has to be reconciled. But overall, all of the deals that have been made so far are ones that where people who or countries that where they see the benefits of coming into the U.S. market and partnering with the U.S. as overriding benefits to being isolationists.
William, how do you see the US's attempts at a bilateral deal with India playing out? New Delhi was one of the first to start negotiating, and a mini trade deal has really proved to be elusive. What do you make of New Delhi playing hardball and really not giving into Trump's demands?
I believe that's a sad story because at the beginning of this year, when President Trump met with President Modi and the Vice President Vance was there with his family, the attitude toward India was so positive. India could have asked for almost anything and gotten quite a lot of concessions. But right now, because India has chosen to, as I said earlier, not partner with the U.S. and not open up its markets for U.S. firms, and has insisted on trading in the energy markets with Russia as extensively as it has, and continue to promote the BRICS agenda, which is one of trying to at least reduce the role of the dollar in international transactions. These last several months have, I think, pushed India away from the very favorable position that it had at the beginning of this year.
Indeed, that's all we have time for here. Thank you very much, William, for joining us here. And of course, India maintaining its position that it's looking at food security and other reasons why it continues to keep its sectors like agriculture protected. Now, for over 5 million South Asians living in the US, tariffs could have an impact in all kinds of ways. Some worry about the cost of living in the US, which could curb disposable incomes, even hurting how much money they send back to India. The US is India's largest source of remittances. For Indian American entrepreneurs, it's worries over the high cost of imports, be it from India or elsewhere. Now, earlier this week, I met with one small business owner who says she's completely spooked.
Ties with any country, or all the ties that we have with various countries, they stand on their own merit, and they should not be seen from the prism of a third country. As far as India-Russia relations are concerned, we have a steady and time-tested partnership.
For months, it's been a guessing game on tariffs as far as Indian goods imported into the US go, but for stores like this one, the pain has already begun to creep in.
When I say the word tariffs, how do you feel?
My blood pressure goes up high. I get anxiety. Am I going to survive? I only have one location, and this is my bread and butter. All these lehengas are anywhere from 600 to 900. And this is my bridal collection. This can go anywhere from 1,000 to around 6,000. The year started out pretty good. I would say that people were shopping and buying stuff. This last 1 month has been a huge impact. I was having quite a few customers walk in throughout the day, at least 5 to 7. Right now, I'm only seeing maybe 2 to 3. I think with the unknowns, with the tariffs and not knowing what's going to happen, I think everybody's been scared to spend money because now people don't know if they want to shop locally or actually go to India. They don't know where they're going to save money. It's lunch hour. As you can see, there's no one here. There's no traffic.
So it'd be very busy at this time usually?
Yes, absolutely.
And now?
Nothing. My manufacturers are based out of Mumbai and Bangalore and Gujarat. If they increase their prices on us, we have to increase our prices over here.
Do you think your Indian suppliers will absorb the cost?
No, they will not. They'll charge us. Whatever we pay in higher prices, I have no choice but to pass it on to the customers here. I can't, there's no leeway behind it. Businesses in America will suffer.
It's something that should not happen to, especially a small business. Or anybody for that matter. No one wants to pay higher prices on goods.
In my 7 years of this industry, I think this is the first time I've faced the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. So we're back to the pandemic state of mind. Between the pandemic and the tariffs, I would say the tariffs scare me more.
Some other Indian clothing stores that NDTV spoke to say that they've kept prices stable for now because of unsold inventory from last year. But prices are bound to go up. In Clarksville, Maryland, Alistair D'Souza, NDTV.
Now, according to a new YouGov and Economist poll, Trump's net approval rating has dropped to -15. That's a sharp slide driven by economic pessimism, also soaring prices and growing unease over his handling of immigration. The Jeffrey Epstein scandal is casting a long shadow, with over 2/3 of Americans, including many Republicans, now believing the government is covering up key evidence, while the president still enjoys support in deep red states. Even some of his core voter bloc seniors and white working class men are showing signs of disapproval. Now, this week saw several developments with the Epstein story. Here's what you need to know. One, Democrats have used an archaic law in a bid to get the Justice Department to release more documents related to the deceased child molester. The law from 1928 has seldom been used, and so its success really remains unclear. Now, the other headline on Epstein this week, a CBS investigation of the prison video on the night he died, may have inconsistencies according to the news network. It raises doubt over a person dressed in an orange suit approaching a staircase leading to Epstein's prison cell area. Federal agents have concluded it was a corrections officer, but a forensic video expert told CBS it was likely someone in a prison inmate's jumpsuit. Now, CBS also says only a tiny portion of the staircase was visible on camera, with large portions cut off. Both the Biden and Trump administrations have said Epstein died by suicide and was not murdered. Now, in other news, a Republican-led congressional committee has rejected a request by Epstein's convicted close associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, for immunity if she testifies before Congress. Meanwhile, the family of Virginia Giuffre, an individual sexually abused by Epstein, has urged President Trump not to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. Giuffre was 16 when she worked as a locker room attendant at Trump's Mar-a-Lago club way back in the summer of 2000. Giuffre died by suicide in April this year. Giuffre's family are now demanding to know what exactly President Trump knew about Epstein after Trump publicly told reporters this week that Giuffre was stolen from Mar-a-Lago.
Saying that Jeffrey Epstein poached 2 of your staffers. Who were the?
Yeah, I don't want to say 2, or I don't want to say any number. You're talking about many years ago, but yeah, he took people, and because he took people, I said, don't do it anymore. You know, they work for me, and he took. Beyond that, he took some others, and once he did that, that was the end of him.
Let's take a closer look at the story. We are now joined by Ankush Khardori, a former federal prosecutor, which is basically a lawyer representing the U.S. government in big federal cases. Ankush, thank you for your time here on Washington Watch. Ankush, U.S. President Trump told reporters he had the authority to pardon Maxwell. He said he has the authority to do so, but no one has asked him to do it yet. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell is, of course, in prison appealing her conviction. What do you see happening? Wouldn't really a pardon only fan those flames of the controversy further?
Yes, I think that's exactly what would happen. The idea of pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell is widely opposed here in the U.S. A recent poll this week showed that only 4% of Americans would support that decision. So I don't think it would work out well for the Trump administration. It's a bad idea, too, as a legal matter. But also, you know, the idea that the president would pardon the only person in prison on heinous sex trafficking charges, child sex trafficking charges, would not really help them out much. I mean, the conspiracy theory, one among others here, is that the U.S. government at the top levels is protecting child sex predators. Now, this is not true, so far as anyone credible can tell, but the idea of Trump pardoning her would ironically be consistent with that theory.
All right, Ankush, the request now to unseal the grand jury testimony was denied by a Florida judge, but the request is still open in New York. However, the Justice Department this week said that the grand jury testimony didn't hear from victims, but just to law enforcement officials. So let's say that's released. Will that really satisfy the MAGA base?
It will not satisfy the MAGA base. In our federal criminal justice system here in the U.S., it is very common for prosecutors to charge a case through a grand jury by presenting testimony only from agents who worked on the case. Their job in that setting is to provide an overview of the investigation and to provide information and evidence to the grand jurors that support the allegations in the indictment and that the government intends to introduce at trial. So what that means is the testimony is focused on the defendants at issue, the charges at issue. It does not roam widely. And if something was not the subject of meaningful discussion at the trial, you should not expect to hear much of it, of anything at all about it in the grand jury. So the questions that people have surrounding this case extend beyond those two cases. And so the notion that this testimony, even if it is unsealed, which it may not be, would meaningfully advance anyone's knowledge here, it is highly unlikely to me.
Former federal prosecutor Ankush Khardori joining us here on Washington Watch. Thank you. In other news now, the Trump administration's clampdown on higher education could already be having an impact on people wanting to study in the United States. Some are worried the U.S. is losing its competitive edge.
Donald Trump wins the presidency. What started off as unlikely, impossible, is now reality.
In just 8 months, U.S. President Donald Trump's tenure has witnessed relentless attacks on American universities. From slashing research budgets to cracking down on international students to freezing key visa programs. It seems Trump administration is only getting started. Billions in federal research funding have been cut. And in early 2025, the administration froze $2.2 billion in government grants to Harvard University, after it refused to comply with new federal rules on hiring and diversity. Consequences are cascading. A Nature survey of 1,600 scientists found out that 3 out of 4 are now considering leaving the US for Europe or Canada, with Trump's policies acting as the final straw. International students, long the backbone of American research, are being turned away. Visa interviews have slowed dramatically, and Chinese students in particular are facing widespread visa revocations. Foreign students contributed $38 billion to the American economy in 2023, supporting over 415,000 jobs. That pipeline is now under threat. In the startup world, the impact is already visible. Paul Graham, co-founder of Y Combinator, says founders are choosing to launch in London over New York, citing random deportations and an increasingly hostile climate for high-skilled immigrants. Meta's chief AI scientist warns the US is destroying its public research funding system. He says many scientists are actively exploring Plan B options in Europe. And it's already happening. British citizenship applications from American nationals rose 26% in 2024. Immigration lawyers in London report a surge in inquiries from American researchers seeking a way out. When a country's most skilled minds leave in search of better opportunities abroad, it's called brain drain. For decades, America was on the receiving end. Today, it's the one bleeding talent.
Make America great again.
Trump's America First promise is now triggering this unintended consequence. And this time, it's America's future that's walking out of the door.
I will never, ever let you down.
With Rhythm Arcadia, NDTV World.
An increased sense of unease on Harvard's campus after the university agreed to a Trump administration demand Harvard would submit employment forms on thousands of staff it employs. These forms are used to verify the employment authorization of individuals hired for work in the United States. Now, Harvard says it will not be handing over details on jobs only open to students. Now, the latest demand is part of the government's ongoing battle with Harvard over pro-Palestinian protests. Let's take a closer look at how these employment details could affect foreign staff, including Indians working on Harvard's campus. We are joined by immigration attorney Pratibha Agarwal for more. Pratibha, thank you for your time here on Washington Watch. Pratibha, the Trump administration wants to see these employment forms, or I-9 forms, handed over by Harvard. What details are usually in there, and what in there could really land someone in trouble?
Sure, thank you. Thank you for having me. So the I-9 form is a document that all U.S. employers are required to complete, usually on the first day of employment for all U.S. employees. So what's on the I-9 form? The I-9 form has some identifying information about the employee, but what it also is requiring the employer to do is physically verify that they have permission to legally work in the United States.
All right, and how could what's in there land someone in trouble?
Absolutely. So the typical scenario would be if someone put false information in the I-9 form. For example, let's say I am at my first day of work and I claimed that I was a US citizen and perhaps I did not have authorization to work in the United States. What would happen then? This is misrepresentation. It could be considered fraud. It could prevent me from becoming a US citizen. It could prevent me from obtaining a green card. Another way that someone could land in trouble with regard to an I-9 form, and I think this is probably more likely the scenario with Harvard, is, for example, let's say the employer, such as Harvard, verified the employment documents on day one of employment. Let's say it's a student who had work authorization for 1 year to 3 years. That authorization could have expired. It could be an oversight on the employee's side. It could be an oversight maybe on the HR side of Harvard. This would put the student out of status. So this could impact them from, one, extending their student status. It could impact them from moving to a different visa type, like an H-1B, which is very common for students to move into, and it could ultimately impact their eligibility for a green card.
Right. Thanks very much indeed, Pratibha, immigration attorney, joining us here on Washington Watch. Let's take a look at some other top stories making news this week. Let's head to Gaza to look at an important visit by the U.S. envoy there as well. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff says he spent over 5 hours in Gaza on Friday to assess the humanitarian crisis firsthand in a post on X. He said the visit was aimed at giving President Trump a clearer picture of the situation and helping shape a plan for delivering food and medical aid. Witkoff and U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, also held talks with Israeli officials a day earlier to discuss the worsening conditions in the enclave. Time now for some other news in brief. The White House is getting a makeover, and not a small one. President Donald Trump has announced a $200 million plan to build a 90,000 square foot ballroom on the grounds, calling it beautiful and long overdue. The new structure will replace the East Wing and seat up to 650 guests, a major upgrade from the current 200-person East Room capacity. Funded by Trump and private donors, construction is expected to be completed before his term ends in 2029. A major leap in Earth observation. The US and India have successfully launched one of the most advanced radar satellites ever built. The $1.5 billion joint mission between NASA and ISRO will monitor changes in the Earth's surface down to a centimeter, from glaciers melting to land deformation and wildfires. The satellite will scan nearly the entire planet every 6 days and is being hailed as the new chapter in space collaboration between the two democracies. India has officially overtaken China as the top smartphone exporter to the United States, driven largely by Apple's rapid shift in production. New data shows that India accounted for 44% of all US smartphone imports this quarter, a staggering jump from just 13% a year ago. Meanwhile, China's share has plunged to 25%. It's a dramatic reshuffling of global tech supply chains, one that could redefine where your next iPhone is made. That's it for Washington Watch. I'm Alistair D'Souza.
Cheerios. A breakfast that's high in fibre, from oats, wheat and barley. That's a little win. Cheerios. Little O's make little wins.
With II's low-flat pension fees, you could retire with more. Really? Open an interactive investor personal pension today.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000, whether it's for home improvements or for some of life's big moments. Evlo looks beyond your credit score and always takes a case-by-case approach. Visit evlo.co.uk to get your conditional decision in minutes.
I started the brand from my love of the sea and cold water surfing. Shopify allowed us to do what we do really well without worrying about the website. I never imagined that Finisterre would be the size it is or have the impact it's had. We're Finisterre and we're powered by Shopify.
This is an important message for people living with diabetes, from people living with diabetes.
When I was experiencing the symptoms of diabetes, I didn't know what was going on.
You go on the internet and it's full of horror stories. You don't know where to begin and you don't know what to believe.
I didn't understand about carbs, I didn't understand about blood glucose levels.
I was scared and I was worried.
I didn't understand diabetes full stop.
That's why the support I get as a Diabetes UK member is so important.
You can become a Diabetes UK member too. To join us now, just call 0800 144 5406 and become a member today for just £3 a month. When you do, you'll receive a practical guide specific to your type of diabetes and a copy of Balance magazine 4 times a year. Balance is filled with news and inspiring real-life stories from members just like you. And you'll receive regular emails and vital updates that will help you feel informed and supported. Plus, you'll help support research that could lead to better treatments for all types of diabetes.
Membership makes life better because you're not alone anymore.
Call 0800 144 5406 or go online to become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month, because membership can help you learn to live better with diabetes.
Life's full of times like this. Oh yeah. The gaps between the good stuff. Okay. Like killing time in waiting rooms. It's not long until you've had enough. David, it's time for some tombola. Bingo 90, while your car gets made all shiny. Deal or no deal's exciting, so your ready meal is piping. Grounded on the runway, open for fun.
Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, you're guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
Don't let gaps in your travel insurance spoil your holiday. Go without the doubt. Insure and go. Call 0800 198 0198. Trusted by over 27 million travellers.
And here's the dining room. There's a lovely garden, plenty of room for a trampoline. It's beautiful.
Our relationship with money is formed from a young age.
Nice to meet you both.
Well, we've seen a house we really like.
That's why we're here to help you take control and find a mortgage that suits you, whether you're buying, moving, or looking for a better rate. Barclays. Make money work for you.
Whatever you need to ask about cancer, Macmillan's free support line is just a call away.
Hello, Macmillan.
Whether it's money...
Am I going to lose my job?
Getting on with life.
Can I still go abroad? Get insurance?
Or just need someone to listen.
How do I tell them?
Our specialist advisors are here to help as often as you need them. Whatever you need to ask, cancer, money, life, call us now on 0808 134 1000.
With Virgin Media, get smooth, lightning fast M125 broadband for under £24 a month. And no setup fee. Switching is simple. We'll handle everything for you. Visit virginmedia.com.
We should have left centuries ago.
It's okay. I'm with the AA.
Because the AA has more expert patrols in more places than anyone else, you'll be back on the road in no time. That's why millions of drivers choose the AA. Join today.
This summer, PlusNet's great value broadband's got you covered. Sit back and relax with full fibre from just $24.99 a month. It's fast and reliable with speeds up to 900 megabits. Oh, and award-winning too. So you can really, really relax. That's a plus. Call or visit plus.net to switch to us today. Offer ends 6th of August.
Someone's happy. Get that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo. The site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. 75 ball bingo. Even 90 ball bingo. Fill your bingo boots today. Get that lucky cow feeling at luckycowbingo.com/bingo or download the Lucky Cow Android app from the Play Store.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Doling out a clear threat that the Congress will go after them.
इलेक्शन कमीशन में जो भी ये काम कर रहे हैं, राइट फ्रॉम द टॉप टू द बॉटम, आप एक बात याद रखिए, आपको हम छोड़ेंगे नहीं. कुछ भी हो जाए हम छोड़ेंगे नहीं आपको, क्योंकि आप हिंदुस्तान के खिलाफ काम कर रहे हो. ये ट्रीजन है और कम इससे कम नहीं है. आप कहीं भी हो, रिटायर्ड हो, कुछ भी हो, ठीक है, हम आपको ढूंढ के निकालेंगे.
The government hit back, saying that Rahul Gandhi is attacking the democracy.
राहुल गांधी जिस तरीके से भारत विरोधी भाषा बोलते हैं, उसका विरोध ऑपोजिशन पार्टी भी कर रहे हैं. ऑपोजिशन पार्टी के कई सीनियर सदस्य ने भी कहा है कि भारत के इकोनॉमी, भारत का छवि को इस तरीके से दबा के कोई बात नहीं कर सकता.
Later in the day, the Election Commission responded to Rahul Gandhi's threat. The poll panel said it ignores such baseless allegations. It added that despite the daily threats being given, we ask all election officials to ignore such irresponsible statements and work in a fair and transparent manner.
Well, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, who's also the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, has once again intensified his attack against the Election Commission of India, this time making personal attacks at the CEC, Ganesh Kumar. And he has said that even if these officials retire in near future, they will have to be punished and they have to pay a price for what they have allegedly done. He has taken them on, calling them, calling the act of SIR, the Special Intensive Revision of Electoral Rolls, an act of vote loot or an act of betrayal. Now, the EC has said that everything that Rahul Gandhi is saying with regard to SIR is completely mythical and it's based on his own assumptions and lies. And the BJP has also accused him of trivializing the issue and undermining the autonomy of ECI. Rahul Gandhi is also all set to protest against the ongoing exercise in Karnataka on the 4th of August. And all of this comes on a day when the ECI has already published its draft electoral list and has shared it with all national parties.
The opposition and the poll panel have been at loggerheads over the issue of voter list revision in Bihar. The opposition, led by the Congress and RJD, have dubbed the exercise hasty and vote-bandi and has held protests in Parliament. The poll panel has now come out with a draft voter list after the SIR exercise and has circulated among the political parties, who have a month to raise objections. In the exercise, the voter list has been trimmed by 65 lakh votes, including those who have died or have shifted permanently out of the state. The SIR matter is also pending in the Supreme Court. NDTV Bureau Report.
Joining me on the show tonight, O.P. Rawat, former CEC, Tom Vadakkan representing the BJP, Dr. Anshul Avijit is national spokesperson of the Congress, Sanjay Kumar, Professor CSDS, and Professor Anwar Pasha is spokesperson of the RJD. Dr. Anshul Avijit, in the month of June, the Election Commission had written a letter, to be specific on June 12th, to Rahul Gandhi asking him to come and give proof because he had raised questions regarding irregularities, alleged irregularities in Maharashtra Assembly elections. Why hasn't the Congress party and the former Congress chief, who is presently the leader of opposition, not responded to that? And then he has come up with another set of allegations today.
The question is completely and utterly misplaced, Maria, if I can say so. The question is not about the leader of opposition. The leader of opposition, by the way, it represents all the India bloc parties, other parties as well.
No, you have not answered my question. I am asking,
hang on a minute.
When an email was sent by the Election Commission, why wasn't it replied to?
Why are you putting the opposition and the leader of the party in the dock when everything has been done, when the travesty has been committed by the Election Commission?
I've been asking questions, Anshul, don't say anything like that. I've been raising all questions on SIR.
I know you have.
Reply to my question.
We will bring out all nature of, as said by Mr. Rahul Gandhi today, we will bring out all nature of proof whenever we can. We will do it. We are gathering proof. We've already gathered it. It's not supposed to dictate to the leader of the opposition when to bring proof. We are questioning the entire SIR process, which we think is a wrongdoing, which subverts the democratic process. That is what the big question is. Now, I don't understand, Maria. I mean, you've been doing stories on it. You know the loopholes in conducting such an onerous exercise a couple of months before the election with 8 crore eligible voters. You know, in a population of Bihar, which is 14 crore or nearly 14 crore, we don't know because the census hasn't been conducted yet. 8 crore voters here, with lakhs of officials involved, we don't really know how many, and a cumbersome documentation process has been done within a time frame of 1 month. isn't that so highly suspicious? Now, every time we raise questions, that is the problem here. Every time the opposition, including the leader of the opposition, questions that are yours, that are mine, that are the Aam Aadmi's questions, that are the journalists' questions, that are the civil society's questions, the opposition comes under dock.
No,
when we say the economy is completely wrecked.
No,
hang on. No, why is the show on the opposition,
because
by the
if
way?
you are saying that the votes are being stolen...
Everyone is saying it. No. Go to Bihar. You've been to Bihar. You're from Bihar.
Anshul,
everyone is saying
don't
it, yaar.
see
We will bring out the...
as against you or against the opposition. I'm asking that why haven't you given the proof of this alleged...
We will give it. Why should it determine? We are the responsible...
Vote chori, when after the Maharashtra elections you have alleged it, after Madhya Pradesh polls you have alleged it, then why haven't you given the proof? One,
you can't have a gun to our head and give us we are the leader of the opposition.
There is a problem in this argument.
There is a leader of the opposition.
While I will
agree
with what RJD has done here, they have taken the issue up while the SIR was going on in Bihar to the Supreme Court. They haven't got relief from the Supreme Court. This entire exercise hasn't been stayed, which means the exercise continued and today the list was published. My question
the first draft is highly... Read the first draft. I haven't got time to read it, Maria.
That's why
there are
high
suspicious questions coming from the first draft itself.
Professor Anwar Pasha would have read it. Professor Anwar Pasha, I'm looking at this list. Of course, we have some very sketchy details of this. And it talks about top 10 vote losers districts, which is Gopalganj, which is of course an RJD bastion. Purnia, Kishanganj, Madhubani, Bhagalpur, Saharsa, Sitamarhi, Samastipur, Saran, Sheohar. All these districts, perhaps, Sanjay Kumar will be able to give us a sense of how it played out in 2020. But as of today, Professor Anwar Pasha, does the RJD have evidence that there has been exclusion and substantive exclusion only of your voters?
Maria Shakil Saiva, good evening. The people of the country, they have the perception, first time, they have this perception about the election commission. This election commission is not the election commission. This is exclusion commission, deletion commission. This is the general perception of the people in Bihar and in country as well. Because the main motto of this election commission is to exclude the names of the voters from the list. And this is not only the exclusion of the names of the voters from the list in such a large number. This is the world record. This will go into the Guinness books of world records. The way the names are being excluded, this is a history. And not only that, the voters whose names will not appear in the list, they are going to lose their voters' voting right. They are also going to lose their citizenship rights. They will be losing all the facilities they are getting in the country as citizens. So this is a big problem for us. That's why there is this controversy. I think up till now, there was no such controversy at such level about any election before this. So this is the first time that such an controversy has taken place.
Tom Badakan, the fact is that it's your government in Bihar. It's JDU, BJP, which is ruling. In this list, are there those who are your voters who have been deleted then? Because some parties' voters have faced deletion.
Obviously, this is not the question of one party's voters list has been deleted.
Professor Pasha, let Tom Badakan respond.
Maria.
Yes.
The Election Commission has admitted that 65 lakh voters were removed, out of which 35 lakh have migrated, and they are not at the addresses mentioned. 22 lakh have died. 7 lakh double voters in 2 different constituencies, and 1.2 lakh yet to submit their forms. Now, the Election Commission on its site has clearly indicated the electoral roll. Now, these gentlemen, especially the LOP, is talking about an atom bomb which will destroy the election. Extraordinary statement. And he says that he will get after them. What do you mean? He will eliminate them? Or whatever consequences. If this is not treason, what is, Maria? Because here is the ECI's claim that they have said, Rahul Gandhi has said, match fixing and industrial rigging. Where does he get this information from? Industrial rigging? Is this about booth capturing that they practiced earlier? I don't see any industrial scale of rigging. Or is it now? Then he says, Karnataka, big fraud. Bless me. What is the Karnataka big fraud? He won the election. And what is the big fraud that has been committed? Okay. The end result is one. He's won in Himachal. He's won in Telangana. So election commission is at the best of. When he loses, he takes this advanced bail. And his advanced bail is essentially...
But this time around, Tom Vadakan, in case of SIR in Bihar, it's not that elections have happened. So there has been no victor or loser here. If there are concerns with regards to this entire exercise, and of course, the opposition hasn't got any relief, the petitioners haven't got any relief from the Supreme Court, their concerns may be seen as valid concerns.
Maria, they are welcome to the Election Commission. The Election Commission has been calling them, but they refuse to do that. They are grabbing headlines outside. I mean, basically, the Election Commission is ready to hear their problems. But if there is a problem, the other option for them is go and file election petition, go to the courts, do a legal approach. No, they won't do that.
Let me bring in Sanjay Kumar. Sanjay Kumar, when we look at these districts, keeping in mind 2020 polls, who tends to gain or lose?
I won't remember the verdict in each of these districts, but if you look at the nature of these districts, some of these districts have a very large Muslim population. And if we go by, the survey details, we know that Muslims have voted for a very large number in favor of RJD and its allies. So yes, I think there is a clear evidence that these are the constituencies where RJD has done much better compared to RJD's performance, RJD and its allies in other constituencies. But I think that election commission might offer a logic why higher deletion are higher in these constituencies, these districts. Maybe because they would say the number of people unknown who were not found on the locations were high in these districts. But I think, yes, generally these are the districts where RJD's performance is much better compared to other parts of Bihar.
Okay, so that perhaps explains their concerns here, O.P. Rawat. That is the reason why the opposition is concerned here. Mr. Rawat. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Actually, the concern of all people, all voters and opposition parties is that all those people whose names are omitted from the voter list or deleted from the voter list, they will not have enough time to appeal and to get those appeals adjudicated fully before the elections, because the elections to the assembly are around the corner. 22nd November, the term of assembly expires and elections have to be completed well before that. Therefore, first week or second week, there will be election. So there won't be any time. In our country, appeals take months.
Yes, so
and
Mr. Rawat, would you say then that the Election Commission, if they wanted to do this kind of intensive revision, they could have done like it happened in 2003. It started 2 years in advance.
Yeah, plenty of time. Even this year, even if they wanted to do this with effect from 1st April, they could have done. So that there was at least 4 or 5 months time for all those people whose names are omitted. Right now, there will be hardly a month. That's the tragedy.
So would you say then the onus on ensuring that the general perception and the general public actually has faith in the electoral process, that they believe that this exercise is free and fair, is on the Election Commission right now, that they are under the scanner, they have to come clean as to why did they undertake this exercise when those who have been deleted will not have time for appeal?
In fact, if they want to come clean, they should set up hundreds of appellate courts in those districts where large number of deletions are there. And if appeals come, they must ensure that these are disposed of within 15 days, not more.
Okay.
Will that be possible?
Yes, Sanjay Kumar?
No, I was asking Rawatji that, do you think will that be possible that, hundreds of appeal come and will Election Commission officials be able to dispose these in such a short span of time?
That is what Election Commission has to do.
Okay, Tambadakan?
Do you consider non-citizens as voters? Is that an accepted attitude in this panel?
Mr.
People
Vadakan,
without...
going with the same revision, elections happened in Bihar and across the country in 2024. At that time, there was no deletion of this 65 lakh.
Maria, the issue here is there's been huge induction of foreign citizens.
So foreign citizens voted during Lok Sabha, sir. Are you saying that?
They may have voted, but now it is clear-cut, established that they are on the list right now. Whether they did it at that time or not, Election Commission's duty is to filter out these people. That
so,
is the strength of
the
our
irony here is, Mr. Vadakan, you're from the BJP, you're defending the Election Commission, but here is O.P. Rawat, the former CEC, who's raising questions on the Election Commission's larger role.
Well, I don't know what his mindset is or what he thinks about. He has an individual view. He's not representing the Election
No, but then why
Commission.
should the BJP be defending Election Commission?
We are not defending the Election Commission. We are talking about an institution which is part of democracy, which is being threatened. They will bomb it with an atom bomb and there will be no Election Commission. Is that the way any LOP should speak? They have a problem, come to the Election Commission. Talk to them. Process of dialogue is always possible.
The issue here is, Anshul Avijit, if the Congress was having any kind of doubt on the entire level playing field with regards to Maharashtra elections, they could have perhaps approached the Election Commission or approached the Supreme Court ahead of those elections. Now that the results are out in the public domain, you will be seen as a loser. It's very different from what the petitioners have done in the case of Bihar. While the exercise is ongoing, they have questioned it.
No, Maria, that's what the BJP wants and that's what everyone is saying. This is an absurd argument. कि आप कोर्ट कचहरी के चक्कर काटते रहो, अपील का कभी डेट फिक्स होगी नहीं. That will never happen. I mean, that's the entire, the process becomes a punishment. That's the cliche we've been working on. It makes no effect. Can you not see the wrongdoing, the travesty by the Election Commission? Okay, forget these words. These are strong words, whatever. Can you not see that even a hint of suspicion by what the Election Commission has done? Everyone sees it. Forget the opposition. We are the spokespersons of the people. We represent 200 crore people. Let's not undermine what the opposition... In the legislature, there is the treasury
Nobody
benches
is undermining
and there is the
anything,
opposition.
Anshul.
Nobody is also trying to... 200 की आवाज है हम. 200
आप बहुत सारे लोगों की आवाज है और अच्छी आवाज है. हम कोई आप पे डाउट नहीं कर रहे. मेरा सवाल है नहीं, सवाल ये है कि मैल प्रैक्टिस कैनॉट बी सीन पोस्ट इलेक्शंस. दिस वोट की चोरी कैनॉट बी अबाउट आफ्टर द रिजल्ट्स आर डिक्लेयर्ड. It can be if you are preempting it, just like what Professor Anwar Pasha is saying right now. And Maria, he has got support in the former CEC also, who says that this exercise, if the list is out, which is out today, those who are not in the list and feel that they are they must be part of the list because they have the relevant documents. Then do they have time for appeal? That is the big question, and that's why I'll bring in Sanjay Kumar. Sanjay Kumar, let's try and wrap up this discussion. 30 seconds to you, sir. Please go ahead.
I think the exercise which has been started by Election Commission for cleaning the electoral roll, I think it has created more mess. Look what has happened. Election Commission has mentioned that, you know, almost 95% people have actually submitted back the forms. But a very large number of them, of those, almost 60-70% have not submitted the proof. That was the essential requirement, that you submit a proof of residence, the place where you're living. That has not been submitted. And now, in the next 1.5 months' time, voters are expected to submit those documents. Imagine how the matching is going to be done. You have submitted the form earlier, now you're submitting the proof, and imagine the mess which is going to be created, that matching these forms with these documents which is being required. So I don't know what is going to be the outcome. Will there be really a clean electoral roll, or what is going to be the outcome of the whole exercise?
Point well taken, Sanjay Kumar. Always a pleasure having you on my shows. Professor Anwar Pasha, Dr. Anshul Avijit, Tom Vadakkan and O.P. Rawat, thank you for joining us. That's all from me on this edition of The Last Word. A special documentary, in fact, a special interview coming up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Some people think life slows down in your 50s, but I'm just getting started. And I don't want my lot to have to worry about funeral costs. Let them spend their money on nicer things. So I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call. Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. And no annoying trips to the doctors either.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To get a free life insurance quote, call our friendly UK team on 0800 470 4474 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Don't let gaps in your travel insurance spoil your holiday. Go without the doubt. Insure and go. Call 0800 198 0198.
We all know animals have feelings. They depend on kindness, just like you and me. So imagine how they feel when they're beaten, starved, and unloved. Every minute, the RSPCA is called on to save animals in physical agony and mental torment. It's unbearable to see the pain in their eyes. We refuse to give up on them, but to rescue them from a life of fear, we urgently need animal lovers like you to donate today. Please, call 0800 121 4260 or text KIND to 84903 to give £2 a month to the RSPCA. Your gift will help fund more life-saving rescues, more emergency treatment, and more gentle rehabilitation. Every month, you'll be helping to keep animals free from pain and sadness, so they can find the comfort and joy they deserve. Right now, across the country, thousands are suffering deliberate harm. But together, we can show animals what kindness feels like. Together, we can rescue them. So please, call 0800 121 4260, text KIND to 84903, or visit our website to start your monthly donation today. Thank you.
Fancy a free game? Beat the banker in Tombola's daily free Deal or No Deal game. There's up to £1,000 to be won. Play for free every day.
Aye, aye. Aye, aye. Aye, aye.
Good idea. It's never too early to consider my pension options.
With II's low flat pension fees, you could retire with more.
Really? Aye.
Helping you get the most out of your pension.
Nice. Aye, aye, aye.
So many investment opportunities!
Interactive Investor, a which recommended SIP provider 3 years running. The II SIP, your personal pension.
Cheerios.
A breakfast that's high in fibre, from oats, wheat and barley. That's a little win. Cheerios, little O's make little wins.
If you have cancer, you may feel overwhelmed with worries.
Will I lose my hair?
How bad will my side effects be?
How do I cope with waiting?
What happens now?
Whatever your cancer worries, Macmillan is here for you. Whether you're anxious about side effects, waiting for test results or appointments, or just need someone to listen, don't struggle alone. Whatever you need to ask, we're here for you 7 days a week. Call Macmillan for free now on 0808 258 8000.
The car, its performance, etc. In this very special show, we're talking about the Tesla. We're talking about the economics of India that allows for a Tesla right now, the demand it could be seen, and why so much excitement about the EV space. But I'm not going to do this by myself. To help me really take you through Teslanomics, I have invited along on this shoot Mr. Dinesh Thakkar. All of you know him, of course, as the force behind Angel One, a veteran market voice. But I don't know how many of you know that he's a complete auto enthusiast and has a garage, which I think is everyone's envy. Thank you so much, Mr. Thakkar, for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. As I also am a car enthusiast, so definitely I would really be very excited to drive this car with you and plus engage in markets and plus some talks on my car garage.
Yeah. So by the way, I don't know if you guys know, but he has McLarens, Porsches, and believes in performance over luxury. I think that is one thing that you're going to be looking for. Is this about style and how much of it is about performance?
See, for Tesla, I would say I would look at kind of like innovation, what they have brought in. Apart from being EV, I think this company innovates a lot. And we also being into a field where we believe innovation is going to create deep penetration. So that is a common element what I am looking at Tesla. Tesla is nothing but a computer on wheels. So that way, I would say it is more than a car.
You know, the biggest test, at least for any car company and even for a Tesla, is grappling with Mumbai roads. So let's see how that goes. All right, we're starting off our drive, and as has been explained to us, first of all, are you excited?
Yeah, definitely. Very
I
excited.
promise to drive as well as I can. Thank you. Thank you
I
for
fully
trusting
trust
me
you.
with this. So the way this works is pretty interesting. So I have to, everything is on this screen. There's pretty much nothing here in the center of the car. It's very different from what you see. Nothing around the steering wheel. Everything is from the screen. Now, that can be, I think, excellent if once you get used to it. Perhaps right in the beginning, it'll take some getting used to, because that's not how other cars usually work. So here we go. And we're off. So you know what's exciting about this, Dinesh? I feel that the way they've made this so intuitive. I'm going to start the conversation talking a bit about Tesla, and the whole concept of this conversation, of course, with Dinesh Thakkar, has been to talk about Teslanomics. Has Tesla's time come in India? We've been waiting for this for at least a decade now. By the time it has come, there are other competitors, but Tesla still has that brand value. So some of your thoughts on that. First, Mr. Thakkar, considering that you are truly a car lover and you believe in performance over luxury.
See, Tamanna, what I see is that Tesla is a company who really innovated and built all their cars from grassroots level as an EV. So technology, what they are using is purely thought based on how EV should function, how EV should look like. So you look at all the functions like over here, everything is on the dashboard, which unlike EVs that we see, which are converts from internal combustion engine to this, they are more luxurious car where all the software is fitted. This I am feeling as if it is a computer on wheels. So everything is like so well kind of like designed and so user friendly. And that is really, this is the first time I'm sitting as close to steering wheel as I can sit. So I can see all these functions, and that excites me.
Are you pointing out to the fact that I've pulled my seat really up front so that my legs can reach?
So that is what I'm saying. Even like you were concerned about whether I would be able to reach accelerator and brake properly, I can see that you are in a well position.
Yeah.
And I had to align my seat so that I am totally aligned to your seat, and I'm sitting as close to seat as, and that is helping me to really understand these functions better.
When this whole news came about that Tesla is coming into India finally, before that a lot of news about what were the conditions that were needed for Tesla to come into India. The Indian government wanted some investments, etc. What would be the pricing be, tariffs. Now that it has actually come in, do you think this is something that's going to be exciting for Indian consumers?
I feel that they have come half-hearted. I would have expected them to come full-hearted, agree to what government had asked for, because India is a big market. So investment of $500 million US and Indianizing their kind of like components in next 3 years was something I think Tesla should have gone for. But maybe currently they want to try out on a test case basis whether actually this market is really good for commitment. But this commitment is going to go beyond 500 million, but it is win-win situation for Tesla as well as for India. I hope that this experiment, what they are doing currently with just a few dealership over here, goes beyond that. And I feel price point currently is just too high because of import duty that they have to pay around 110%. And once they agree to terms what government has set, they can bring in this car by paying just 15% import duty. By that, they will be able to price it properly at 40 lakh around, which is the segment where India is really seeing good growth.
When we're talking about Teslanomics, and we spoke a fair bit about the car, I want to link it to and get your view on this consumption boom in India. This is something which I think even market has been betting on since budget this year, because these tax cuts came in. The premiumization theme has been there in Indian markets, in the economy for quite some time. How do you see this product and this launch in that bigger picture? Just as an example, there's a real estate developer who's come into Mumbai for the second time, a Delhi-based developer who's starting apartments at 6.5 crores. So those are the same guys who are going to come out and buy cars like this, isn't it?
Yeah, I think India, in terms of being aspirational and being a big consumption story, still, I think the story has just begun. If you look at current, our per capita income would be average around US 2,800 something. And we have seen big kind of consumption story play out when per capita income goes to 5,000 and 10,000, which is just maybe 5 to 10 years away. So I feel that brands like this who are thinking about being in India and capture this big consumption story, they have to look at next 25 years. They have to look at Viksit Bharat year 2047. And if you look at this category of HNI, what we call, or emerging HNI, who are earning between 50 lakh to 1 crore, that population is growing at the rate of 14 to 15%. So that is the fastest growth across the globe. And brands like Tesla, who are really trustworthy, who can really bank big on this consumption story, they should take serious view about next 10, 20 years rather than taking kind of a short-term view. So I believe this consumption story and aspiration story of India has played out well, and it is a beginning, I would say.
Let's talk a bit about your passion for cars. Because this is something you really have bragging rights on. What is the latest addition to your collection, and how often are you driving?
Latest I bought McLaren 750S, which is a special kind of 60-year edition what they came out. It is only one in India. So that is my latest kind of like equation in my garage. And I drive it often, like every weekend we go for a drive. 15 days back, I took my AMG GT Black Series, which is AMG's track version. And Black Series is supermost model in terms of performance. We took it to Netrex. Netrex is an this thing track built for automobile testing and all that. Over there, any speed is allowed. So I drew my car at 325 km/h, which is legal, official. So I have a good kind of like collection of car. I'm fond of performance car. So when I started my car collection in 2015, actually, I started very late because I was busy in business. So I did not want to get distracted. So I started with buying a Mini Cooper, which was 180 horsepower. And today, as we speak, all my cars I have bought are 750 horsepower. And 0 to 100 is within, say, like below 3 seconds.
Just coming back to the point of appetite right now, with what we're seeing in the markets, and I'm just switching gears over there a little bit. That's car.
There are no gears over here, so we have to switch.
So we have to switch gears and drive the conversation in a different direction. Oh, I can do this all day. Okay, I just want to talk about the fact that FIIs just seem to be very, very cautious on India, and which is why you look at corporate results, a mixed bag, not that great in parts, but definitely not the kind of disappointment you should see with the FII selling. What do you think is the cause of concern right now?
I think these last 2 quarters we have seen a perfect storm for our market, where we saw US tariff being uncertain. Definitely it creates uncertainty and people would like to wait and watch. And we saw even in terms of global inflation, everything was too high. So there is a concern in terms of how US dollar will behave. And geopolitical issues and all that, things are sorting out. I feel by quarter 3, 4, you will see again corporate earning picking up. As I said, that tariff matter also will get resolved. Good, bad, whatever. What investor wants, certainty. So I'm very kind of like hopeful. See, what has kept this market up is retail money. So I'm seeing retail inflows have continued to flow in our market. And today, as we speak, retail is holding around 18% of market cap. So in that sense, even retail is under-owning this asset class. If you look at the way they are investing, the way this asset has appreciated. I was just looking at data. Retail's AUM in the market, direct and indirect, was around 16.5 lakh crore, which as we speak is around 70 lakh crore. So they have seen appreciation of around CAGR of 15% on that wealth. So what I see is that they will continue to remain in this market, which keeps our market steady. Now imagine FIs coming in and putting in around 2 lakh crore per year, what they used to put in. We are going to see a good steady market in terms of liquidity. Now if you look at current account deficit, our fiscal deficit is very disciplined. Oil prices are favorable. So I am seeing lots of reason to be optimist for the market.
Earnings growth is
exactly.
quite muted. No?
Yeah. So I think everything is going to pick up. We have to just wait for a few quarters. I'm not seeing market to be giving any sharp correction. It may consolidate for some time and then we'll see a good appreciation from there on.
We're getting to this interesting part of the drive, the coastal road again.
Switching
gears again. I just want to talk about the infrastructure. We're doing this drive, by the way, on the coastal road. And for Mumbai, so starved of good infrastructure of that sense, this has been such a boon. That infrastructure boom, that entire story, do you think that that's a little underplayed? Because our biggest cities are leveling up like never before.
See, I believe infrastructure is going to make a big difference. I think government has done their bit. If we want India to really see a good growth rate for next 20-25 years, what we're talking about, Viksit Bharat, government has to do heavy lifting in terms of building good world-class infrastructure.
No, so just on the part of the kind of appetite we're seeing right now for primary market, do you see this as an opportunity for all of those investors who are now really putting their faith in equity, or some will be fooled over here? Because obviously, Behti Ganga mein sab haath dalenge.
See, market would never be 100% safe. That is a role of a regulator to see how to make it safest as possible. But retail have to use their own kind of sense and do their own research when they are investing, especially when they are investing in SME kind of sector. But overall, I am seeing that good healthy IPOs are coming. Last year also we saw around 1,50,000 crores were raised in primary market. So overall, I see it's a good kind of thing which is happening in India. And IPO quality, if you ask me, I've seen this market for last 30 years. So IPO quality recently, what we are seeing in last 3-5 years are really a good quality.
I just wonder if Indian investors are continuing to have patience. You talked about a lot of headwinds that we saw in the last few months. F&O regulations are among them as well. And since you have this bird's eye view of investor appetite, number of demat accounts, activity, etc., are you seeing that appetite continue or a little subdued in terms of volumes?
My experience is that because our country demographic is quite young, so people come for excitement and quick money. And in a year or two, they understand that they would not be able to beat market or create wealth through speculation. And what I have seen is that then they slowly move towards investment, to SIPs in mutual fund, and they create a good portfolio. Speculating in F&O and all that, we have to control it, but it would be difficult to totally stop that.
Just look at this view. This is insane. Like while we're driving, I can get a 360 degree view of the car and everything around it. Do you think there can be a Tesla autopilot?
No,
in India?
It will take time. In India, it will take time because we have to have lots of road design discipline, driver's discipline, because suddenly a driver changes lane. Bombay still it is good. If you look at Delhi, they change lane without informing and all that. So I don't think it would be too much for Tesla to really navigate that. Because you are used to Indian roads, so something can come, so we are always alert. So if you look at always your 1 feet would be on the brake also when you're accelerating. Suddenly I may change it. So overall I feel that Tesla has to Indianize lots of things. Currently, whatever features are available may not be fully used in India. But India is somewhere, I would say, EV is an attractive proposition. People love it. If at all they are able to work out maintenance-free car, which EVs are, and bring the cost down of spare parts and everything, it can really become very popular.
I also wonder if EV is going to be the focus that policymakers will take, because after a point, hybrid is also something which your largest auto companies are pushing towards. Your biggest players are not necessarily lock, stock and barrel in EV, right?
See, what I believe is that it's all about sustainability and all that, and Tesla from day one is into this segment. So whatever comes, they would be there with new innovations. So Tesla has to take this as a mission, that how to penetrate deep in India in terms of sustainable energy and all that. If they are able to take this as a mission, work with government and give good solutions, I think this is a right company who can work with this government, and it's a big opportunity for them.
They also have to, look at their global sales numbers coming in. Their largest market right now is China, where they're losing some steam as well. If you're not in India as a global player, where are you?
Exactly. So if you look at their numbers, even US, their numbers have dropped. Even in China, it has dropped almost 10-11%. That's a, I would say, substantial drop. And China would like to promote the local brands. They are gearing up big in terms of EV.
What I find also reassuring is that Tesla has come into India at a time when there are enough players within India as well. It's not as if we're starved for any options. In this price range, lower price range, you have Indian car makers who've come up with some very sharp products out there. So I think that also is a good thing. At least Indian consumer has a choice today, and this is one of the choices.
Yeah, it is a kind of a healthy competition. We have India first design creators like Tata, Mahindras and all that. But I think there is a space for enough players in EV. See, all said and done, we are seeing kind of an acceptance of EV in India. and we are seeing people want choices. So in this segment, I think people would love to have Tesla at a higher end. At mid and lower end, maybe other manufacturers can get a good market share. So overall, I feel that it is just kind of an underpenetrated, just started kind of a thing market on EV.
Do you think Musk should have come for the launch?
I'm sure that he can't avoid such a big market, and I feel once they decide seriously on India that we are going to put a plant over here, we will surely see him coming over here and inaugurating a plant.
What was your first car?
So I started with Premier Padmini Fiat, if you remember, in 1990s and all that. So it was 40 horsepower just. So it was just a car for commuting. Then I shifted to E-Class Mercedes.
From Fiat, from Premier Padmini, you went to E-Class?
Between I had a few second-hand cars. So it's a long story. So like then I went to Premier Padmini 118 NE. Then I bought a Maruti Esteem. Then I shifted to Mercedes E-Class.
What is the most basic car that you have right now?
Right now, basic for office.
Sabzi kharidne wala car.
Sabzi kharidne wala car. No.
No, I know. I'm not claiming. I'm not claiming that Dinesh Thakkar goes to buy sabzi, but okay.
No, like my driver goes, definitely they have a different car, but I think I should not be talking about that. I should be talking about my cars. For office commuting, I used to use S-Class. Now I'm using the same BMW i7.
Okay.
So that is a kind of like daily commute car. And sometime if I like, I just go in my Lamborghini Urus. Today also came in my Lamborghini Urus.
You know, you talked about performance at the start, before we started our interview also. You talked about how performance is key, which is why you were interested in the story of this company. Is that something you look at in your business philosophy also with your company very closely?
See, I draw parallels between Tesla and my company. See, Tesla came in with a mindset of disrupting, innovating. So it is a big innovation in a car industry. So I believe I want to use this innovation to make financial service accessible in India for retail audience, especially people who have stayed away from market for all these years. I want to use kind of like technology where everything what they want in terms of guidance, in terms of what they have to buy, when they have to shuffle their portfolio, what protection they want to buy, should be so intelligently integrated in a phone. It becomes like an autopilot in Tesla, which is not allowed in India. But at least in financial service, I'm hopeful a regulator will allow that when a person is earning their first money, my app can guide them what is the first investment to do. When they're taking an EMI, at what price they should take. When they're taking some risk in terms of leveraging and buying a home, they should know what protection they should buy.
Do you think that the next innovation in this whole capital market space is yet to come?
Oh, big innovation yet to come. I don't think we have seen anything in innovation. Now imagine you want to create a portfolio with investing just 500 rupees. Today, is it possible? Yes, to some extent. Now you want an exotic kind of like portfolio manager to work a portfolio for you, just you want to invest 500 per month. It is possible. Now if you look at like use of blockchain, already there are lots of sandbox experiments going on, that we can tokenize all the assets, we can fractionalize all the assets, and by using this cryptography, all these assets can be held in a very fractional value.
So today if someone's watching this and has the aspiration that they want to buy a Tesla one day, you know, your story as well, they want to follow. You've gone from a Premier Padmini to I don't know how many high performance cars. What would be your guidance to them?
See, I would say that, okay, have a proper roadmap of what are your aspirations in life and how you're going to achieve it. As in my story, I saw Mercedes G-Wagon when I was in college. I was in junior college. So that time I made up a mind that I want to buy this car. But I was not impulsive to think that I want to buy it in a year, or I knew it was going to take time. It was a very costly car. So one has to plan their things, how to fulfill your aspirations. So I would say start your journey with proper SIP. When you get your first check, when you get your first earning, put 5-10% of your earning regularly in SIP, index stocks, index mutual fund or ETFs. That gives you a good appreciation.
Very interesting, the kind of growth that you would see. But in terms of the amount of risk appetite you should have, what is the rule of thumb for that?
See, I believe this asset is considered risky. It is not risky, it is volatile. That is what people don't understand. They will say, I bought this thing today, oh, it went down by 10%. But if you make a proper kind of like staggered investment plan, you will see volatility will be limited.
Ooh, this was a fun ride. I actually enjoyed this. Okay. So, Mr. Dinesh Thakkar, today you have proven your risk appetite as an entrepreneur. You've allowed me to drive you through the city in a Tesla, which I drove for the first time. It was a very enjoyable ride for me. But are you convinced? How many are you going to buy now?
First of all, people ask me, what is the trait of to be a successful in business? That's the trait, that we take risk. Although I was saying you are unable to, your feet was not reaching to accelerator and brake also, but still I had trust that you'd be able to drive me safe. And we reached over here. And on Tesla, definitely, I am a person who would like performance car. So I would wait for Cybertruck or the Roadster, which is coming, which is going to achieve 0 to 100 in less than 2 seconds. So I'd wait for that models to come and then I will buy it. But till the time, I feel that I'm better off with whatever cars I have.
Which are not few, by the way. But thank you so much
for
joining us on this episode.
Thank you.
Cricket updates brought to you by Remitly. Send money home safely with Remitly.
I've been thinking, I want to plan my funeral so it feels more like a celebration. My parents always said I was born dancing. I just love it. Bhangra, disco, even line dancing. So when my time comes, I want to have music, dancing, the lot.
With over 150 years' experience, you can count on Co-op Funeral Care to help you pre-plan the funeral you want. To find out more, visit Co-op Funeral Care or give us a call.
With II's low flat pension fees, you could retire with more.
Really?
Open an interactive investor personal pension today.
Someone's happy. Get that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo. The site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. 75 ball bingo. Even 90 ball bingo. Fill your bingo boots today. Get that lucky cow feeling at luckycowbingo.com/bingo or download the Lucky Cow Android app from the Play Store.
For such gentle souls, working donkeys in the Middle East lead terribly hard lives. For such trusting animals, donkeys are too often abused and exploited. These sensitive, loyal animals often suffer the cruelest pain. And now, conflicts in the Middle East have seen donkeys terribly injured, malnourished, and in desperate need of care. The cost of medications has soared, but there is something you can do. Please call Safe Haven for Donkeys on 0800 144 5802 or go online and give a life-saving gift of just £2 a month. Safe Haven for Donkeys is dedicated to transforming lives in Gaza, the West Bank, Israel, and Egypt. Your gift means our mobile vet clinics can provide emergency treatment for injured donkeys. We heal wounds and ensure donkeys aren't suffering. We also work with local communities, helping them to look after and cherish their donkeys. You'll help us make sure there's always a place at our sanctuaries for abandoned or injured donkeys who have nowhere else to turn. Please call 0800 144 5802, text SAFE4 to 84902, Go online or scan the QR code and give just £2 a month. Help save a donkey's life today.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Airflow can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000. Get your conditional decision in minutes.
If you have cancer, you may feel overwhelmed with worries.
Will I lose my hair?
How bad will my side effects be?
How do I cope with waiting?
What happens now?
Whatever your cancer worries, Macmillan is here for you. Whether you're anxious about side effects, waiting for test results or appointments, or just need someone to listen, don't struggle alone. Whatever you need to ask, we're here for you 7 days a week. Call Macmillan for free now on 0808 258 8000.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, your guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
Doubled down on India's deep-rooted relationship with Russia, raising questions. He's pointed fingers at New Delhi for being one of Russia's largest buyers of crude oil, over 35% of India's imports, and for our long-standing reliance on Russian military equipment from fighter jets to missile systems. In his words posted on Truth Social, these ties fueled Russia's war in Ukraine, and India must pay the price. But let's unpack this. Is this really about Ukraine, or is it a calculated move to strong-arm a rising global power into submission? India's response? Defiant, unflinching. The Petroleum Minister Hardeep Puri has dismissed panic, saying India imports from nearly 40 countries and will deal with any disruptions. With a diversified oil supply and reserves for up to 3 months, India is not terribly worried at the moment about these threats. The Commerce Ministry, meanwhile, is studying the fallout but vows to protect India's farmers, entrepreneurs and small businesses in any trade deal with America. These three categories are, of course, our economic backbone. So we are looking not just at oil, but the trade deal with America as well. Where is that? It's been going on for a while, not yet been signed. But here's the truth. India is not just a market, it's a sovereign giant with 1 billion plus people to power. And that's the position from which these negotiations with America must happen. Well, the prospects of US trade tariffs on India very, very real, and perhaps the biggest concern right now, going over and above the entire tariff issue, is the potential of sanctions by the United States on India for the continued import of Russian oil. Joining us now for her views, a wonderful guest, Nisha Biswal, is a partner at the Asia Group and a former Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asia. Ma'am, thanks very much for being with us. I think
pleasure to be here.
Many over here in India would have expected potential tariffs, and there's a process of negotiations and there is a talk which is going on. But it does go beyond that when you look at the US having problems about India's import of Russian oil. This has been discussed and debated many times in the past, and it appears that if America sanctions India on that, then that sort of hits at the relationship itself. How would you look at that?
Well, look, it's certainly unfortunate that the conversations have taken this turn. However, I would perhaps try to keep all of this in perspective. The United States and India have long had conversations about some of the sources of Indian energy that have been of concern for the United States. We worked through these issues in the past with respect to import of Iranian oil. And certainly, I think the conversations on, Russian energy imports had been ones that had been had in the prior administration as well as this one. And I think there's a path forward. We certainly, there's an understanding of India's historic and legacy relationship with Russia, as well as some of the sensitivities around energy. However, these concerns have been there in the past as well. I would hope that the two governments could work through some of those issues. I know India has been increasing its import of U.S. energy, both
crude and LNG, and I think that that's also a pathway that could perhaps help to soften some of these concerns on the U.S. side.
But then, it needs to be price sensitive. India is doing this to run our economy in a sense. So any import of energy from the United States would need to match the price point that Russia sets India. That would be very difficult for American companies to be able to do.
Look, I think that this is a conversation that's going to be had in the context of the broader trade conversation. There are sensitivities on the Indian side and certainly price points that the Indians are looking at. However, there's also an ability to carve out a larger trade package that perhaps creates some accommodation on the Indian side for some movement on issues that the U.S. side is looking for movement on. So I think these are conversations that hopefully the two sides are continuing to have behind closed doors, despite the fact that perhaps the rhetoric has been ratcheted up in the public domain.
There are some who say that Russia also has its options. Now, India is the largest importer of Russian oil presently. And this would hurt Russia incredibly if India were to stop that altogether. Therefore, if Russia were to retaliate, and this is just speculative, but there are pieces which are now appearing, the potential shutting down of the CPC pipeline from Kazakhstan, where American oil majors Chevron and Exxon hold big stakes, could be deeply problematic for America. This is something which Reuters in a detailed piece have come out with as a possible impact. So this goes beyond India and Russia. It could impact the United States as well.
Certainly, and look, I don't think anyone is expecting that India is going to make a unilateral and comprehensive action. I think that these are negotiations that will factor in the global dynamics, and I think the Indians are aware of that. I think the U.S. is aware of that, but it is not in isolation, and I don't think that the energy question is being addressed in isolation. I think it's part of a larger conversation on the contours of the U.S.-India relationship. India has, moved in recent years to deepen its ties with the United States, its defense ties, its energy ties, its economic ties. That is something that we would like to see continue to happen. We recognize, I think, that there has been a broad and diverse set of relationships that India has had across all of those fronts. The Trump administration has made it clear that it would like to accelerate the pace of that movement towards U.S.-India partnership and relationship across all of those domains. The president has used perhaps more robust tactics and more public tactics in trying to push that conversation. But this is a conversation that the U.S. and India have been trying to work through for successive administrations, and I would keep it in that context, despite the fact that perhaps we're having some pretty terse conversations in a public manner right now.
And that's what would, again, concern many here in New Delhi for President Trump to start talking about dead-end economies in the context of Russia and India. It's unnecessary, some would say. We have a great relationship with the United States. So the moment people start adding adjectives, that also the President of the US, then it complicates, work which so many people have built up on. You built on this relationship. You worked on it in the past. And, to sort of push that away in a sense, even if it is for the moment, it would concern a lot of people, I suspect, in Washington as much as New Delhi.
I certainly, look, I don't disagree with anything that you said, Vishnu. I think the challenge here is that you have a president who tends to enjoy having these more robust and confrontational conversations. I don't think it means that he has moved away from the U.S.-India partnership, but he has engaged in, very very hardball tactics with the closest of partners and allies. And it does not mean that you can't then turn around and reach an agreement and move forward on areas that are important to both countries. I hope that both the U.S. and Indian government keep that firmly in mind. And I think that the public in both countries need to keep that context in mind, that yes, we're seeing some very difficult conversations play out in a public sphere. It does not mean that the relationship is in jeopardy by any means. I think it means that the president sees a trade deal and an economic partnership with India as a high priority. He's willing to engage directly on that, and perhaps in a manner that is not comfortable for many of us who have engaged in a much more back channel private conversation and having these kinds of conversations. But that's his style, that's his manner, and he's the president, so that's what one needs to adapt to. On the other hand, I think the United States and India have so much that in alignment that brings us together. One should not lose sight of that and continue to work through this. Our two economies are increasingly interdependent. There is so much gain to be had in deeper economic collaboration. There are concerns that need to be addressed with respect to some of India's ties on the Russia side, but I think that they can be managed and should be managed.
A final question. India sort of values our strategic autonomy. Our foreign policy is one of non-alignment. It always has been. They don't use that word anymore, but that's essentially what it is. So in as much as it's wonderfully, it's great with America, it's also very strong with Russia. President Trump also referred to India's historic military purchases from Russia. Now, you can't end that overnight. Not that India would necessarily want to. You've got more than 272 Sukhoi 30 fighters. You've got several thousand Russian T-90 tanks. So you can't switch that off. You cannot replace that overnight. Doesn't there need to be an acceptance of that at the highest levels in the United States, that look, in as much as America and India have a growing military relationship, that India's relationship with Russia from a military standpoint cannot be a showstopper to everything else in the works?
Well, so over successive administrations, there has been that understanding and that accommodation, but also a strong desire to see a deeper alignment and collaboration, a partnership on the defense side with the United States. India's approach has been to leverage many different partners, some of whom are strategically of great concern to the United States. That does limit how deep the United States can be and the level of technology that the United States can share and the amount of partnership that we can engage in. So I think that those are issues that we have been trying to work through with the United States and India, and I think we can work through those. I think some of the technologies are going to be impacted in terms of tech transfer and, some of the areas in which we want to see deeper integration with the United States and India and partnership across, various domains. The United States during the Obama administration named India as an all domains partner, strategic partner in the defense sector, and we certainly would like to see that relationship grow further. But there will be these areas of tension that need to get worked through, and I hope that both governments are able to do that.
All right, Ms. Biswal, wonderful speaking to you. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. Thanks very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Well, the US decision to impose not just tariffs on India, but perhaps additional tariffs on India's continued import of Russian oil creates headaches over here, but would have international ramifications as well. We'll explain why. I'm joined by Tatiana Kokreva. She's a senior Russian journalist, Professor Andrew Latham, Alexander Slater, who's the managing director at Capstone, DP Srivastava, former Indian ambassador, and Gaurav Sansawal, a fellow at CSIS. Thank you all very much for being with us. Alexander Slater, given the fact that Russia, to a large extent, is quite happy with the fact that they have this thriving oil transferred to India, do they have options as well? For example, could they potentially hit assets in oil exports which could impact American interests?
Hi, Vishnu. It's nice to see you. In terms of the India-Russia oil trade, I'd say that as we think about this, India's appetite for Russian oil has been highly responsive to U.S. policy. And so I'm not entirely sure that what we see over the last few days is going to endure much longer. I think that you've heard Minister Puri make some comments about India's ability to procure oil from other sources, and for this to be something that the two sides can come to a resolution on if they work together.
No, the reason I say so is because what if, and this question is to Tatiana, what if Russia were to retaliate by closing the CPC pipeline from Kazakhstan, where US oil majors Chevron and Exxon, and this is on the basis of a detailed Reuters piece which has now emerged, they hold big stakes there, and therefore if Russia were to respond, this couldn't be the end of this this geostrategic battle that's being played out.
Well, Vishnu, and thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. The problem with this geostrategic battle right now is generally Donald Trump and his, inability to be diplomatic about it, so to speak. He doesn't take, as much of a bully as he is, he doesn't take any, strong responses kind of well. So would it be the end of this geopolitical battle? And again, we're speculating here because, the Reuters pieces, but obviously Russia has options to retaliate. That kind of creates a larger question of, when India started buying Russian oil at this extent, Prime Minister Modi stated very clearly that this was about strategic autonomy. Yeah. And I believe that it is a hugely important point for all of the global south, and especially, for stronger players emerging on the market. What is going on right now, this geopolitical battle, it's not just about Russia and the US, and it's much, much larger than this, because what happens to this strategic autonomy, if, India is, in this case, bullied into not buying Russian oil. Yeah. And it is larger than, again, just India and the US, Russia and the US. It is about a multipolar world that is under threat right now.
No, I take that, Alexander Slater. The fact is that Russia does have options, and a combined stoppage of CPC and Russian flows to India could create a disruption of 3.5% of global supply. That could result in fuel inflation, particularly diesel, as I understand it, elsewhere. So does Trump not understand, the issues over here? It goes well beyond India. The international flow of oil goes all over. It's not limited from Russia to India. Indian refiners refine the oil and then send it, and that serves countries in the West.
It's true, Vishnu. The price of oil is a world price, and it's usually set by supply and demand. And so if you were to take some supply off the market, it would cause the price of oil to go up, especially from sources where the demand was diverted. At the same time, it's important to remember that Russia is spending enormous amounts of money on a war in Ukraine, where it invaded in 2022. And that has really shaped the Russian economy. And as a result of that, Russia's not really in a position to stop obtaining foreign currency through cutting off oil sales to the world. I would be extremely surprised if Russia did this, because it would put an already precarious economy where inflation is sky high and interest rates are rising in an even more dangerous position. If you look back just, I believe, last week or the week before, Russia suspended exports of gasoline because the price of gasoline has risen so quickly that people in Russia can't afford it anymore. So just think about that. If Russia is preventing commodities that it needs in order to fight the war effort and for survival day to day because of price increases it's not in a position to really cut off its source of foreign currency that would cause even more inflation.
Okay. Gaurav Sansawal, what are the options that Delhi has at this stage? Because, you know, there's also been a statement today where Delhi has come out strongly in favor of the relationship with Russia. Our bilateral relationships with various countries stand on their own merit, should not be seen from the prism of a third country. That, in this case, obviously is linked to the United States. India and Russia have a steady and time-tested partnership. And on the entire issue of defense procurements, because that's something that Trump had also spoken about, India says the sourcing of our defense requirements is determined solely by our national security imperatives and strategic assessments. Therefore, New Delhi isn't going to be a walkover in this case, but that doesn't leave us in a good way with America, does it?
No, Vishnu, I think diversification is going to be the answer from India's side. And so touching first on the oil issue, there are two things that New Delhi would be looking at doing. One is, President Trump wants Delhi to buy more from the US directly. And we saw that in 2016, India was not buying much, but by 2020, India was buying about 6% from the US. So India would probably look to buy a little bit more from the US. But secondly, to your point on CPC pipelines and other things, the beneficiary here will actually be the Middle East. So if India wanes off a little bit on Russia, because India buys through direct sea routes from the Middle East through the Strait of Hormuz and Arabian Sea, the direct beneficiaries will be the powers in the Middle East. So I think India, and those are going to be more price competitive as well. So I think India's first response will be, yes, if you want us to diversify away from Russia, we will, but price competitiveness matters. And so while we may buy a little bit more from the US, we would need to buy a lot more from the Middle East as well. On the defense side as well, I think it's been long acknowledged that price is, again, a crucial factor for India as it thinks about diversification. So while it is moving away slowly in the last few decades, a little bit away from Russia, it is not going to, be bracketed into just any one country, because it has to look at pricing options and it has to look at technology transfer options and things like that. So I think it will be rocky. Things are going to be fluid, Vishnu. But I think slowly, given the market and pricing realities, I think the point that where US and India will meet on these issues is somewhere in the between, where things will change a little bit more, just as they did last time around, because these irritants have been around a while. Price caps, for instance, on oil were by themselves a bit of a compromise that the international community did to keep the prices stable. So I think we will have to see some kind of a compromise or a negotiation in the few weeks. And it cannot remain as much of an irritant as it seems to be right now.
Professor Latham, India and the US have built up a very close strategic relationship over the years, premised on decades of hard work, foundational agreements, deep technology sharing, deep military equipment purchases by India, etc., etc. Semiconductors is a space that they're looking at. Green energy, I could go on. Is it in America's interests to actually take steps which might end up impacting not just trade, but the relationship itself?
Yes, I mean, I can understand, although I don't agree with the Trump administration's approach to this. They want India fully and wholeheartedly on Team USA. And that's part of the Indo-Pacific balancing China piece. So thinking strictly geopolitical terms, strategic terms, that's clearly what the United States wants here. In order to get that, you have to wean India off its arms dependence, to the extent that that's still a thing, on Russia, and its willingness to purchase Russian oil. So that's what the U.S. wants here. It also wants, sort of geoeconomically, it wants to sell more oil to India. And it wants to, at the end of the day, put a lot of pressure on Vladimir Putin so that Trump can live up to his promise of ending that war within 24 hours. He's only 7 months late, but you take my point. But it's not going to work because Trump understands multipolarity, but he doesn't understand multi-alignment, which is a recent phenomenon in some ways, but in India's case has been the name of the game for a long, long time. Sometimes India does deals with and is part of the West, and sometimes it does deals with and is part of, historically, the Soviet bloc, but now within the Russian sphere to some extent. But here's the thing Trump doesn't understand. He understands it in the American case, but not in the Indian case. India will pursue its own national interests. And if that means acquiring relatively inexpensive oil from Russia, it will do that. If that means not reforming the agricultural sector because of domestic politics, the Indian government will avoid doing that as well. So Trump, really, he's not terribly well-traveled. He's not terribly cosmopolitan. He doesn't quite understand how other countries operate, the culture, the politics, etc. I understand what he's trying to accomplish, but America and the American president's approval ratings in India are tumbling at the moment. They've been steady for decades, pretty positive. And now they're tumbling. So it's turning out to be a counterproductive strategy vis-a-vis Putin, vis-a-vis Modi, and vis-a-vis America's place in the world.
Ambassador Srivastav, what are India's options?
Shom, let me first clarify 2-3 points. The American oil sanctions the impact will not be limited to only India, because oil is a fungible commodity, and the sanctions will have the effect of removing 5 million barrels per day of Russian oil. If you take the global picture, and let's keep in mind that this comes at a time when the American sanctions against Iran have also been tightened. We are not buying any Iranian crude, but China is buying about 1.5 million to 2 million barrels per day. So what we are looking at is removing something like 6 to 7 million barrels per day of oil at a time when the total global consumption is 105 million barrels per day, or roughly 5%. There is no alternate source from which this quantity of oil can come. So the impact will not simply be on Indian economy, it will have an impact on global economy, including American consumer. Now, this is exactly the reason why Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary in the previous US administration, had come up with this very clever idea of oil price cap. That is where you put pressure on, you reduce Russia's revenue, but you do not disturb the global oil situation. Now that balance, delicate balance, will be disturbed in case the new US sanctions come in. The Europeans still want to preserve that. So they have reduced the oil price cap from $60 to $47.6 per barrel. But the American, whatever the bill which is going through the Congress, and I understand it has overwhelming support, so it will go through, does not, observe this delicacy. Now, the second point I want to make is that Ukraine war has not only affected the oil situation, it's also affected the gas. And the West, while promoting sanctions on Russian oil, has been extremely wary about imposing sanctions on Russian gas. Russian LNG accounts for 17% of Europe's consumption today, despite the fact that overall, Europe's import of Russian gas has come down from 40% to whatever 17% now, or 20%. So this is not simply about Ukraine. This is politicizing oil.
Sure.
Now, the third thing, so let's take the morality out of it. That Russia is bleeding Ukraine and so on. That the gas purchase also feeds into that. And till now, till last month, Europe allowed processing of Russian oil and export of petrochemicals to Europe. And in fact, there were also export of petrochemicals based on Russian oil to America. So, let's not talk about morality. Now, let's be very clear about what are the options for different sides.
Sure.
One is that $1 increase in the price of oil increases India's annual import bill by something like 14,000 crores, or roughly $2 billion for $1. And I was just looking at the figure, since past 1 month, there has been an increase in in the price of Indian oil basket by $5.95, which is, so you can imagine it's already more than 11, it's already added up. In case this trend continues, it will be at least 10 to $11 billion. And if the sanctions actually go into effect, then the
Dealing with my lot means making smart choices. And with our family growing, I want to protect the life we've built. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000, depending on your age.
Brilliant.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought, and could help my husband pay off the mortgage.
With our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
I'll go ahead.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free life insurance quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 5753 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Let's play. Someone here is about to find out they've won Lotto, but who's the millionaire going to be? Maybe that guy, wondering, are crackers with the biscuits or the crisps? All in, buying a birthday card for a cat? OK then. George is a millionaire. Get yourself a coat with sleeves. Lotto makes 2 millionaires a week on average. Will you be the next millionaire?
John from work said it's a lovely hike.
Right, Rosie, can I have the boots bag? No, I meant the hiking boots bag. Did we not bring it?
Discover new beauty must-haves at Boots. That's your summer sorted.
Sometimes it's the little things that remind us of them. Stay close, even when you're far apart. Send money worldwide with Remitly.
We all know animals have feelings. They depend on kindness, just like you and me. So imagine how they feel when they're beaten, starved, and unloved. Every minute, the RSPCA is called on to save animals in physical agony and mental torment. It's unbearable to see the pain in their eyes. We refuse to give up on them, but to rescue them from a life of fear, we urgently need animal lovers like you to donate today. Please call 0800 121 4260 or text KIND to 84903 to give £2 a month to the RSPCA. Your gift will help fund more life-saving rescues, more emergency treatment, and more gentle rehabilitation. Every month, you'll be helping to keep animals free from pain and sadness, so they can find the comfort and joy they deserve. Right now, across the country, thousands are suffering deliberate harm. But together, we can show animals what kindness feels like. Together, we can rescue them. So please, call 0800 121 4260, text KIND to 84903, or visit our website to start your monthly donation today. Thank you.
It's great to be helping out before my first grandchild arrives. And after having a few repairs myself, I need to make sure they'll all be protected. Which reminds me.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
Wow, that money could help with funeral costs or as a gift for my grandkid. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
He's going to be named after his granddad.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free life insurance quote today, call our UK team on 0800 470 4444 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
Whatever you need to ask about cancer, Macmillan's free support line is just a call away.
Hello, Macmillan.
Whether it's money...
Am I going to lose my job?
Getting on with life.
Can I still go abroad?
get insurance?
Or just need someone to listen?
How do I tell them?
Our specialist advisors are here to help as often as you need them. Whatever you need to ask, cancer, money, life, call us now on 0808 134 1000.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
Some say sport is a matter of life and death. The truth is, it is far more serious than that. Sport is about ecstasy and agony, about pain and suffering, about joy and much more. Some say there's no one better to tell these stories. So here I am. Join me, Boria Majumdar, on India's #1 news network.
Sleepless for sports. We are reloading sports NDTV style. With the biggest comeback this season, India's OG sports journalist on India's #1 news network.
No games, just sports.
Sports coverage levels up with Boria Majumdar on NDTV.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
Sleepless for sports. We are reloading sports NDTV style. With the biggest comeback this season, India's OG sports journalist on India's #1 news network.
No games, just sports.
Sports coverage levels up with Boria Majumdar on NDTV.
Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Usama Shah. Big breaking news at this moment. The controversy surrounding the National Film Awards, it has now sparked a heated debate, with the Kerala Chief Minister criticizing the jury's decision to honor a film allegedly spreading misinformation and communal hatred. The state government has expressed strong dissatisfaction, feeling that the award decision has insulted Kerala's image as a beacon of harmony and resistance against communal forces. Listen in.
So 2 awards we gave to Kerala's story. One is the best cinematography because in the cinematography, it was done with great pure images. It was captured in a very realistic way, bringing to the screen the director's vision and the stark reality of what has happened. So we thought best cinematography was that for it. The second is best director, Sudeep Sen, for tackling this such a difficult subject, bringing it out with a great sincerity and with authenticity in terms of what must have actually happened. So it's a story that needs all the research. And this again, unanimously we felt that the Kerala story deserves the best director.
Well, Vasudha Venugopal joins us on the phone line to get us more on this. Vasudha, this film, it has been a subject of debate earlier as well, and now that it has been awarded with the film, the national awards, there are going to be a lot more discussions going forward.
Absolutely, Osama. Kerala Story, a movie released in 2023, has yet again become a flashpoint between LDF and the BJP, and it gets all the more interesting because Kerala elections are scheduled next year. If you remember, even in 2023, the LDF had said that this movie is highly exaggerated, and it talked about, the teaser of the movie when it came out, it talked about 30,000 Hindu and Christian women from Kerala being converted and recruited as ISIS recruits, and the RTI information then revealed that it was even less than 10 people, 10 women, and that had become a bone of contention. And in fact, the LDF had accused the movie of perpetuating wrong things and lies. But the Sangh Parivar had talked about conversion and love jihad as being a social problem in Kerala, which is why this movie had become all the more controversial. Now that a national award as part of the 71st National Awards has been, in fact, Kerala Story has won 2 national awards today. In fact, it's been given the National Award for Best Cinematography and also for Best Direction, and that really has upset the LDF government, specifically the Chief Minister, who has said that this is an insult to all Malayalis because it perpetuates a wrong notion about Keralites and about the state being a bastion of terrorism, a bastion of forcible conversions, whereas the state has always represented harmony. But clearly it's a clash of narratives, and we'll have to wait and see how the BJP responds to it. And like I said, with the elections coming up next year and the fight being largely centered around Hindu votes, it is also going to be a close battle of narratives between the LDF and the BJP.
All right, Vasudha Venugopal, thank you very much for getting us all those details. And on to a controversy around the Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy, whose comments that he feels like slapping some young journalists who he claims have no respect for senior journalists. Revanth Reddy's comments have sparked a fresh controversy. He said, and I quote, "Young journalists don't even know how to respect their seniors. They don't even have the basic sense to stand up when senior journalists enter. They sit in the front rows during the press conference and give me look, as if I should greet them and bow my head." He sometimes, according to him, feels like slapping them, but his position comes in between.
నాకైతే అప్పుడప్పుడు అనిపిస్తుంది దిగిపోయి పల్ల చెంపలు వలగొట్టాలని, కానీ పరిస్థితులు హోదా అడ్డం వస్తుంటాయి. గతంలో జర్నలిస్టులను చూస్తే మర్యాద ఇచ్చి పలకరించి ప్రెస్ మీట్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత వాళ్ళతో 10 నిమిషాలు మాట్లాడి మేము చెప్పిన దాంట్లో ఏమన్నా లోపాలు ఉన్నాయా లేకపోతే మేము చెప్తున్న ఉద్దేశం ఇదే అని.
Revanth Reddy, who said that he will strip people, beat them up, arrested journalists for reporting on Gachibowli, now gives another threat, chilling threat. "We will strip you and beat you," he tells the YouTube journalists. This is the so-called respect for Samvidhanik Sanstha or for the 4th pillar of democracy. They attack EC, they attack judiciary, they attack media. And this is in the DNA of Congress. Who imposed censorship on media? Indira Ji. Who bought 2 anti-media bills? Rajiv Ji. Who put sedition cases and 66A on journalists? Manmohan Singh. That means Sonia Gandhi government. And now, who's the one who has boycotted 14 journalists? Congress party. Who's threatening journalists on daily basis? Revanth Reddy. This is the emergency DNA of the Congress party.
So Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy was in fact addressing journalists at the 10th anniversary celebrations of Nava Telangana, a Telugu newspaper. The Chief Minister sought to make a distinction between professional journalists who have been in fact sacrificing almost their life or health for the well-being of people, talking about people's issues, their problems, and also the omissions and commissions of the government, and generally contribute to society and used to be respected. But he says because of those who are masquerading as journalists on social media, on YouTube or on digital platforms, who don't know the ABC of journalism or anything else, he says this is a category of people who think that they wield power and expect to be treated in a particular manner. That is the category of so-called journalists, he says, who get under the skin of the Chief Minister. And of course he expressed that very violent emotion of saying that I would like to slap such people. That of course is not becoming of a Chief Minister, but he was saying that this category of journalists who fire and scoot, he advised a professional journalist to in fact identify themselves as distinct from the other group.
Well, what happens if the world's 2nd largest oil importer, India, evaluates options other than the cheaper Russian oil? Well, higher energy bills for all, including the average American. In fact, this report decodes it all.
When you buy cheaper, you save. But when the tap runs dry, the price of every drop goes sky high. And if India, one of the world's biggest oil importers, is forced to turn off the Russian faucet, the whole world might feel the burn. India currently gets over a third of its oil from Russia, and it's not just any oil. It's heavily discounted, allowing India to keep pump prices in check and its fiscal math under control. But now that deal is under fire. With a new 10-day deadline for Russia to strike peace with Ukraine, Trump has turned up the heat. Countries still buying from Moscow risk facing biting secondary sanctions. And for New Delhi, that could mean oil imports jumping $8 to $10 billion and domestic fuel prices peaking by 8 to 12%.
LPG, natural gas, crude oil, there are multiple sources from where they can be accessed, and there are multiple discussions going on.
But India isn't losing sleep just yet. India has diversified oil imports from 27 to over 40 countries. New suppliers like Guyana, Canada and Brazil are stepping in. Still, there's a catch. If India walks away from Russian oil, the demand for alternatives will spike globally, tightening supply chains, driving up prices and creating a domino effect. Global prices may spike by $5 to $8 a barrel and gasoline could cross $4 per barrel. Who pays then? The American consumer. So here's the million-barrel question. If Trump penalizes India for buying cheap Russian oil, only to watch US voters pay more at the pump, what will Trump say then?
But the US President Donald Trump, he has his eyes on the prize. One prize specifically, the Nobel Peace Prize. Yet his pursuits to end the wars in Gaza and Ukraine have so far failed. Explaining his desperation to tell his people that he ended the India-Pakistan conflict in May. So what if it's far from the truth? This report tells you why Trump is getting more frustrated with Putin and why that is leading him to come out with the multiple rants against India.
So I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you.
I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed in President Putin. Very disappointed at him.
He made big promises to the world when he came to power, vowing to end wars in 24 hours. Yet, 6 months later, US President Donald Trump hasn't learnt one thing. Using personal relationships as leverage can only get you so far. Washington is growing increasingly frustrated with both Russian President Putin and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu as the wars rage on with no end in sight. President Donald Trump hasn't found his recent phone calls with the war-entangled leaders encouraging, expressing his disappointment publicly, issuing repeated ultimatums, none of which seem to be working. The Russian president continues to make empty promises of ceasefire talks while ramping up attacks on Ukrainian cities. Meanwhile, Israel's strikes in Syria were already testing the White House's patience. Add to it images of starving children in Gaza and mounting international pressure, with France, UK and Canada pledging to recognize the Palestinian state, added to Trump's woes.
Next time you speak to Netanyahu, what will you ask him to do?
Well, I'm going to say, look, we're giving money and we're giving food. But we're over here, and we're over in the United States, and I think I can speak for the Prime Minister. We're giving money and things. He's got to sort of like run it. Well, I want them to make sure they get the food. I want to make sure they get the food, every ounce of food. I think you want the same thing.
Even this one time, North Korean pen pal Kim Jong-un seems to be unresponsive to Trump's friendly overtures. The cracks are showing in Trump's uniquely personal approach to foreign policy. The peace deals Trump once promised that he hoped might win him a Nobel Prize remain elusive and out of reach.
With Virgin Media, get smooth, lightning fast M125 broadband for under £24 a month. And no setup fee. Switching is simple. We'll handle everything for you. Visit virginmedia.com.
Visit bingoaliens.com/bingo for a cosmic range of bingo games, taking bingo to another dimension at bingoaliens.com/bingo.
We all love a bargain, like these flatmates who switched to Vodafone and are now paying less for their full fibre broadband, which means they can still stream 2 shows at the same time. But for less. Still gaming with mates, but for less.
It's easy to switch to reliable full fibre broadband for less.
From Vodafone.
This baby bear is terrified. Torn from her mother's paws at a tender age. They will force her to live alone in a tiny, filthy cage, like so many bears driven mad by loneliness, rubbing their wounds raw against the bars, suffering cruelly day after day, year after year, just for people's entertainment. Four Paws found little Potap crammed into a tiny, squalid cage. He'd been there for almost 9 years, lonely and isolated. There are so many more young bears who need your help. Please call 0800 038 0493 or text BEAR to 70800 to give £3 a month via your mobile phone. Every month, your £3 could help us free more bears. Help give bears the veterinary care they need and help them live happy, healthy lives in the freedom of our natural sanctuaries. Please call 0800 038 0493 or text BEAR to 70800 to give £3 a month via your mobile phone and help Four Paws free bears from agonising torture. Please, don't leave these bears to suffer for a single day more.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, you're guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
Cricket updates brought to you by Remitly. Send money home safely with Remitly.
Hiya. Americano, please. Your house blend. Splash of oat milk.
Are you going to do this every time?
Nescafe Azera Americano.
So you're paying contactless or...?
Irresistibly smooth barista-style coffee at home.
When you look into the eyes of a child who is losing their sight, you see so much sadness and pain. They are forced to find their way in a world they cannot see.
Right now, children in some of the most remote parts of the world are losing their sight to cataracts. But today, you can help a child like Teonga have the straightforward operation that will save their sight. Please text GIFT11 to 78866 or go online and give £2 a month to Sightsavers.
because you can help a child like Tayonga see again.
Shredded wheat is one ingredient, whole grain wheat. Simple. Rudy's an engineer. Not simple. We do a high fibre breakfast. Simple. Rudy invents this stuff. Yeah, not simple. We'll stick to the simple stuff. Shredded wheat. It simply does it.
When Tony passed, we wanted to celebrate him his way. All he ever spoke about was bite this, bite that. I'll never forget our first date. Huge grin on his face as he rode up on that big noisy thing. And that's exactly the way he'd want to be remembered.
At Co-op Funeral Care, we offer a choice of funerals including direct cremation. We're right by you when you need us. Search online, call us or visit your local funeral home. With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, you're guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
If you have cancer, you may feel overwhelmed with worries.
Will I lose my hair?
How bad will my side effects be?
How do I cope with waiting?
What happens now?
Whatever your cancer worries, Macmillan is here for you. Whether you're anxious about side effects, waiting for test results or appointments, or just need someone to listen, don't struggle alone. Whatever you need to ask, we're here for you 7 days a week. Call Macmillan for free now on 0808 258 8000.
Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV. I'm Aditi Bhardwaj and we'll tell you who has won what after the national awards have been announced. Just stay tuned. Let's take a look at the headlines first. The National Award for Best Movie, Best Actor has been announced and the National Awards winner list is out, after which Shah Rukh Khan, Vikrant Massey win Best Actor Award. Rani Mukherjee bags Best Actress Award in the National Film Award category. The Kerala story gets 71st National Film Award. Kerala Chief Minister, however, was miffed with the honour, said it insults Kerala state and hence such movies should not be promoted. Telangana Chief Minister now gives open threat to journalists, says, I feel like slapping YouTube journalists. BJP calls out Congress's emergency mindset, says this is Nafrat ki dukaan. Leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi's big attack against the poll body. Rahul Gandhi says, working against India, you won't be spared. This is the open threat that has been given by Rahul Gandhi to the Election Commission. However, Election Commission has said that we ignore such allegations, while government has said that this is a malicious campaign that is being run by the Congress party against the poll body. Amidst diplomatic flare-up, MEA sets record straight, says India, Russia have steady relationship, strong defense relationship with the United States. And the National Film Awards are one of the most prestigious honours in Indian cinema. They are presented every year by the Government of India to celebrate excellence in filmmaking. These awards recognize the best film performances and technical achievements across various languages and genres. Shah Rukh Khan's first national award has come out for the movie Jawan. This award is now being shared with Vikrant Massey for 12th fail. It was the major highlight. Afterwards, Rani Mukherjee has bagged Best Actress Award for Mrs. Chatterjee vs. Norway movie that came recently. Now, the 71st National Film Awards celebrated the finest cinematic achievements of the year, showcasing a diverse range of talent and storytelling from across the nation. Take a look.
So 2 awards we gave to Keral's story. One is the best cinematography because in the cinematography, it was done with great pure images. It was captured in a very realistic way, bringing to the screen the director's vision and the stark reality of what has happened. So we thought best cinematography was that for it. The second is best director, Shudip Sen, for tackling this such a difficult subject, bringing it out with a great sincerity and with authenticity in terms of what must have actually happened. So it's a story that needs all the research. And this again, unanimously we felt that the Keral story deserves the best director.
And after getting the Best Actor award, Shah Rukh Khan, the King Khan of Bollywood, has thanked the National Film Award, the jury, and said he is overwhelmed by this award. Take a look.
Namaskar and Adab. Needless to say, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude, pride and humility. To be honored with the National Award is a moment that I will cherish for a lifetime. Thank you so much to the jury, the chairman, and to the INB Ministry, and to everyone who thought I was worthy of this honor. I want to thank all my directors and writers, especially for the year 2023. So thank you, Raju sir, thank you, Sid, and especially thanks to Atlee sir and his team for giving me the opportunity in Jawan and trusting me to deliver and be worthy of this award. Atlee sir, this is like you say, mass. I want to thank my team and management which work tirelessly with me. They bear with me my eccentricities and impatience and give me their full attention and make me look much better than I am, like even now in this video. This award without their perseverance and love would not be possible at all. Thank you so much for everything you do. My wife and kids, who over the last few years give me so much more love and care, as if I'm the kid in the house and want only the best for me. They know my obsession with cinema takes me away from them, but they all bear it with a smile and allow me the time. So thank you very much for that. A national award is not just about achievement. It's a reminder that what I do matters. It tells me to keep going, keep working hard, keep creating, and keep serving cinema. In a world full of noise, to be heard, truly heard, is a blessing. And I promise to use this recognition not as a finish line, but as fuel to continue striving, learning, and giving back. ये अवार्ड मेरे लिए एक रिमाइंडर है कि एक्टिंग सिर्फ काम नहीं है, एक जिम्मेदारी है, स्क्रीन पर सच दिखाने की जिम्मेदारी। और सबके प्यार का मैं बहुत बहुत आभारी हूँ और भारत सरकार का इस सम्मान के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। And then lastly to my fans, thank you for all the cheers and all the tears, and really thank you for pausing your scrolling while watching my work. This award is for you, as each award is. And yeah, I would love to spread my arms for you and share my love, but I'm a bit indisposed. But don't worry, just keep the popcorn ready. I'll be back in theaters and soon on the screen. So till then, just with one hand. Ready.
Meanwhile, the controversy surrounding the National Film Awards has sparked heated debates, with the Kerala Chief Minister criticizing the jury's decision to honour Kerala Story, the movie which, as per him, spreads hatred and spreads misinformation about Kerala state. Now, the state government has expressed strong dissatisfaction, feeling that the award decision has insulted Kerala's image as a beacon of harmony and resistance against communal forces. The National Film Award was given to the Kerala Story. 2 awards, with Best Director and Best Cinematography award, was given to the Kerala Story in the National Film Awards list. However, this hasn't gone down well with the Kerala Chief Minister. Take a look at what my colleague Vasudha had to say about it.
Kerala Story, a movie released in 2023, has yet again become a flashpoint between LDF and the BJP, and it gets all the more interesting because Kerala elections are scheduled next year. If you remember, even in 2023, the LDF had said that this movie is highly exaggerated, and it talked about, the teaser of the movie when it came out, it talked about 30,000 Hindu and Christian women from Kerala being converted and recruited as ISIS recruits, and the RTI information then revealed that it was even less than 10 people, 10 women, and that had become a bone of contention. And in fact, the LDF had accused the movie of perpetuating wrong things and lies But the Sangh Parivar had talked about conversion and love jihad as being a social problem in Kerala, which is why this movie had become all the more controversial. Now that a national award as part of the 71st National Awards has been, in fact, Kerala Story has won 2 national awards today. In fact, it's been given the National Award for Best Cinematography and also for Best Direction, and that really has upset the LDF government, specifically the Chief Minister, who has said that this is an insult to all minorities because it perpetuates a wrong notion about Keralites and about the state being a bastion of terrorism, a bastion of forcible conversions, whereas the state has always represented harmony. But clearly it's a clash of narratives, and we'll have to wait and see how the BJP responds to it. And like I said, with the elections coming up next year and the fight being largely centered around Hindu votes, it is also going to be a close battle of narratives between the LDF and the BJP.
A special court in Bengaluru convicted former JDS MP Prajwal Revanna in a rape case. This is one of the 4 rape cases registered against him in Hassan district. The punishment for the crime is likely to be pronounced tomorrow. As per the prosecution, the victim worked as a maid at a farmhouse owned by the Revanna family. It is claimed that from 2021, during the COVID-19 lockdown, Prajwal repeatedly raped the victim and filmed the assaults in different locations. He was under judicial custody since SIT had arrested him on May 30th. Prajwal Revanna is notably the grandson of JDS Supremo and former Prime Minister Deve Gowda. Take a look at the reactions coming in.
There was a gap of 4 years for lodging the FIR. She could not raise her voice in view of her poverty. After the sexual assault by the accused, she left the job, though she was suffering from poverty. And then at that time, they were not ready to leave her. That's why she kept her in that working place. That was recovered only during the course of investigation after forming the SIT. This is the message I can say today. It is sent by the MLA MP court. The purpose of the establishing the court was this is the same thing. Whatever may be the impression in the mind of the people, big people, but this is the strongest message for the lawmakers.
Conviction proves all the allegations made by the victims from Hassan, and I think it is time that the JDS leaders and the BJP leaders come out and answer the questions that the people have been asking for long. While